What's up, football fans? Big Al back with you on this Thursday, September 17th, 2020, and I'm a little bit late getting this week 2 preview in. I didn't get started on all of this until about this time yesterday afternoon, so I'm kind of behind, but I am here, and we're going to run right through all of this. Okay, we're going to start off with Thursday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. This is the 2020 number 1 draft pick in Joe Burrow for the Bengals, going up against the 2018 number 1 draft pick in Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Alright, this game is tonight, as we're recording this on Thursday, 8:20 Eastern on the NFL Network. Announcers are Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. The updated line in this game is Cleveland -6. The over-under is at 43.5. We're just going to run through all of these. Tell you what each team did last week, and then I'll give you my pick. All right, the Bengals had their chances against the Chargers. In fact, they had a chance to send the game to overtime, but their kicker missed a kick wide right, and it cost Cincinnati, so they ended up losing. Speaking of losing, that's what the Browns did. They got torpedoed by the Baltimore Ravens, losing 38-6. I think the Browns will be back in the win column this week. I got them winning 27-20, covering the 6 points, and I have the game finishing over the 43.5. Now to the Sunday afternoon games. You got the Atlanta Falcons at the Dallas Cowboys. Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. The announcers are Kevin Burkhardt and Daryl Johnston. The game will be airing in Atlanta and in Dallas-Fort Worth, as well as Austin, Cleveland, Columbus, Houston, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Memphis, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Little Rock, Albuquerque, Eugene, Oregon, El Paso, Amarillo, Lubbock, Corpus Christi, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Tulsa, Wichita, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Lexington, Kentucky. The spread in this game is Dallas as the home favorite by 4.5 points. The over-under set at 52.5. Both teams are coming off losses. The Falcons lost 38-25 at home to the Seahawks, despite getting 3 of their receivers over 100 yards. And the Cowboys turned in a less than stellar performance on Sunday night against the Rams, losing 20-17. I got Dallas bouncing back in this one, winning 31-21, covering the 4.5 points. The over-under, as I said, is 52.5, and this game will finish just under that total. All right, our next game up is the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. The announcers are Spiro Dedes and Adam Archuleta. This game will be airing in Buffalo and Miami, as well as Rochester, Syracuse, Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, and West Palm Beach. Current spread is Buffalo -5.5, over-under is 45.5. Give me the Bills in this one, 27-17. I got them covering the 5.5 points, and I have the game finishing. Oh, the line is, the over-under is 40.5. I got this game finishing over the total. The Bills won against the Jets last week, while the Dolphins looked terrible against the Patriots. Panthers and Bucks, that's the next game from Tampa. That's 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Announcers are Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth. This game will be airing in Charlotte, Tampa, St. Pete, Raleigh-Durham, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Orlando, Boston, Providence, Greenville, Spartanburg, Columbia, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, and all the way out in Salt Lake City. The Panthers put up quite the fight against the Raiders, but came up short, losing 34-30, while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in Tom Brady's debut, lost 34-23 to the Saints. And Brady himself didn't play all that well. 2 touchdown passes, but also 2 picks. Tampa Bay's favored in this game by 8.5. The over-under is at 47.5. I think Brady will come out firing against the Carolina Panthers. They are a much lesser defense than what they faced with the Saints last week. Give me Tampa Bay 34-17. They'll cover the 8.5, and this game will finish over the 47.5 points. All right, next up, the Denver Broncos at the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. The announcers are Greg Gumbel and Rich Gannon. In addition to this game airing in Denver and Pittsburgh, it will also air in Baltimore, Boston, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Colorado Springs, Albuquerque, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Louisville, Omaha, Norfolk, Richmond, Reno, Raleigh-Durham, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, San Francisco, San Diego, Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, Fresno, Bakersfield, Santa Barbara, Billings, Montana, El Paso, Amarillo, Wichita, Topeka, Sioux City, Bismarck, Lexington, Dayton, Harrisburg, Providence, Toledo, Columbia, South Carolina, and Lexington, Kentucky. The Steelers won last week against the New York Giants, and Big Ben's returned from the shoulder injury that sidelined him for all of 2019. And the Broncos had some clock management issues, which cost them against the Tennessee Titans on Monday night. And with the Steelers being at home, I expect them to take care of business. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one, 26-17. They'll cover the 7.5, and the over-under of 41 points will finish just over the total, as I have these two teams scoring 43. Next up, an NFC North battle between the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. Lions looking to bounce back after blowing a 23-6 lead against the Bears and losing that game, while the Packers looked very sharp against the Vikings, putting up an NFL high 43 points and 522 yards of offense. All right, so the Lions and Packers is at 1 p.m. on Fox. The announcers are Chris Myers, Greg Jennings, and Brock Heward. In addition to this game airing in Detroit and Green Bay, it will also air in Milwaukee, Anchorage, Fairbanks, Billings, Montana, Topeka, Omaha, Des Moines, Madison, Peoria, Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, Grand Rapids, Flint, Toledo, Cincinnati, Dayton, and St. Louis. Packers are favored by 6. The over-under is 49.5. Give me the Pack, baby, 35-23. And they'll cover the 6 points, and I have this game finishing over the 49.5. Now, Kenny Golladay is suspected to be back for the Lions, but I don't think it will make much of a difference here. All right, from the NFC North to the AFC South, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Now, if I told you when the schedule dropped in April that this was going to be for first place in the AFC South, I would have laughed at you, considering that Jacksonville's a dumpster fire. They got lucky. They pretty much got lucky last week against the Colts. Gardner Minshew was 19 of 20, and he threw 3 touchdown passes in that game. That's why they won. Anyway, the Jaguars are in Nashville this week against the Tennessee Titans, who I think should have won by a much larger margin than they did against the Broncos. I think their problem is the special teams. Steven Gostkowski missed 3 field goals in that game. Anyway, the Jags and Titans are at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. The announcers are Andrew Catalan and James Lofton. And this game is pretty much confined to portions of the Southeast. This game will air in both Jacksonville and in Nashville, as well as Orlando, Tallahassee, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Jackson, Mississippi. Tennessee's favored by 8.5 points, and that's the largest point spread on the board. We also talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being an 8.5 point favorite against Carolina, and there's also another game on the board with that same point spread. More on that in a second. Anyway, the over-under in the Jags-Titans game is 44. I got Tennessee winning this game 24-17, but I have Jacksonville as the road dog covering the 8.5 points, and I have this finishing under the 44 total. Next is the Rams at the Eagles. Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. The announcers will be Kevin Kugler and Chris Spielman. This game will be airing in Los Angeles, Philadelphia, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Erie, Harrisburg, and Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, among other locales. The Rams are favored by a point. The over-under is 45.5. But given Philly's issues with the offensive line, allowing Carson Wentz to be sacked 8 times and them blowing a 17-point lead against the Washington No-Names. I'm not trusting this offensive line, even though Lane Johnson is reportedly supposed to play in this game. Miles Sanders, their running back, we know is going to play in this game, so that's a big boost. But I am not trusting our offensive line. Sorry. Aaron Donald is a game record, and he is the anchor of that Rams D-line. And they are going to push the Eagles around on the point of attack from start to finish. But don't count out the Eagles. They'll get their points, but I think it's going to be the play of the defensive line of the Rams and the offensive line for the Eagles that decides this one. I'm taking LA 28-23. I got them covering the 1 point. And I have this game finishing over the 45.5. All right. Next game up was the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts. The Vikings got... I'm not going to say they got shelled, but they got hit hard against the Green Bay Packers last week, losing 43-34, giving up 522 yards in the process. That secondary looks just as bad as Philadelphia's O-line, I will say that. As for the Colts, Phillip Rivers really didn't play all that great or all that bad. He's kind of in between. But Minshew Magic was in full effect last week, and that's why the Colts lost to the Jaguars. You can't allow a quarterback to hit 19 of 20 passes and throw 3 touchdowns on you and expect to win. And the news gets worse for Indianapolis as Marlon Mack, their starting running back, is out for the season with an Achilles tear. So that's a big blow for him. Then Phillip Rivers, getting back to him, I just don't trust the guy. This is why the Chargers got rid of him. They couldn't trust him no more. He kept turning the ball over, making horrible mistakes. I mean, he's been in this league long enough not to make those mistakes, yet he keeps making them. See, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins as my quarterback as opposed to, say, Phillip Rivers. Now, there's a bit of a double-edged sword here because Cousins cannot be trusted in big games. And this obviously is not a big game, so this is one he should win. Give me the Vikings 24-20. They'll cover Indy's 3-point spread. And I have this game finishing under the total of 48. Alright, so that game is at 1 p.m. on Fox. The announcers will be Tim Brando and Robert Smith. This game will air in the Twin Cities and in Indianapolis, as well as Duluth, Sioux City, Fargo, Bismarck, South Bend, Fort Wayne, and Evansville. So this game is pretty much confined to portions of the Great Lakes region and the upper Midwest. All right. Our next game up is the New York Football Giants at the Chicago Bears. The Giants did not play all that badly against the Pittsburgh Steelers, losing 26-16 on Monday night. And then Mitchell Trubisky just caught fire in that fourth quarter in Detroit as Chicago erased a 17-point deficit to beat the Lions. The Bears are favored by 5. The over-under is at 42.5. This game will air Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS with your announcers Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. And this is probably the marquee matchup on the first half of CBS's doubleheader. This will air to much of the country. In addition to New York and Chicago, this game will also air in Atlanta, Austin, Charlotte, Dallas, Fort Worth, Detroit, Hartford, Houston, Indianapolis, Green Bay, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Des Moines, Madison, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, St. Louis, Little Rock, San Antonio, Seattle, Tacoma, Spokane, and Tucson, as well as Corpus Christi, Lubbock, Tulsa, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Birmingham, Anchorage, Honolulu, Fairbanks, Greensboro, or Greenville, Spartanburg, Albany, New York, Peoria, Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, Evansville, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Grand Rapids, Flint, Madison. I don't know why I wrote Des Moines twice so well, but. And this game will also air in Fargo, North Dakota. All right. I got the Bears winning this one 24-17, covering the 5 points, and this game finishing under the 42.5. Then the last of the 1 o'clock games on Sunday afternoon is the San Francisco 49ers, fresh off of Sunday's home loss to the Arizona Cardinals, traveling east to face the New York Football Jets, coming off of a loss of their own at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. That game is Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. The announcers are Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. The game will air in both New York City and San Francisco, as well as Seattle, Spokane, Portland, Oregon, Sacramento, Fresno, Bakersfield, Reno, Boise, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Hartford, and Honolulu. I think Vegas really should have given this game a larger point spread, because as of 11 a.m. Pacific time, the line sits at San Francisco -7. The over/under is at 42. I think San Francisco should have no excuse why they shouldn't win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I got them winning this game 38-13, which means they'll cover that modest, and I do mean modest, 7-point line. And I have the game finishing over the 42-point total. All right, now to the late games. Starting off with the Washington No Names, or the Washington football team, whichever you prefer. Coming off that dominant second half against the Eagles, in which they set quarterback Carson Wentz 8 times and erased a 17-point deficit by scoring the final 27 points in that game. You pretty much know the final score at that point. They traveled to Glendale to face Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, coming off that upset win of the defending NFC champion 49ers in San Francisco. That game is Sunday on Fox at 4:05 Eastern Time. The announcers are Dick Stockton and Brady Quinn. The game will air here in Phoenix as well as out in DC. Plus, it will also air in Tucson, Denver, Colorado Springs, Chicago, Nashville, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Miami, Norfolk, Richmond, Baltimore, and Buffalo. All right, Arizona is favored in this game by 7, and the over-under is 46.5. I don't think the football team or the no-names will be able to contain Kyler Murray. I mean, they do have one of the top front sevens in football, but I think Kyler Murray will be too mobile for him, and that he'll be just making plays all afternoon. Give me the Cardinals to win this one, 28-17. They'll cover these 7 points, and I have this game finishing under the 46.5 point total. All right, now to game 2 of CBS's doubleheader. The first game will be the Baltimore Ravens at the Houston Texans. That's at 4:25 Eastern on CBS. The announcers are Kevin Harlan and Trent Green. This game will be airing in Baltimore and Houston, as well as Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Nashville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Louisville, Nashville, Memphis, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. among the major markets. Smaller markets getting this game include Amarillo, Corpus Christi, Shreveport, El Paso, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, South Carolina, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Norfolk, Richmond, Harrisburg, PA, Toledo, Dayton, Lexington, Kentucky, South Bend, Fort Wayne, and Evansville. All right, Baltimore's favorite by 7 points, and the over/under is set at 50.5. I think this is going to be one of those games where the Houston Texans will really miss DeAndre Hopkins. Because you need a big play receiver to play a defense like the Baltimore Ravens. And Houston don't have that no more now that Hopkins is here in Arizona. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to carve up this Houston Texans defense, just as he did the Cleveland Browns last week. Give me the Ravens to win this one 37-21. They'll cover the 7 points, and I got this game finishing over the 50.5. And then the final Sunday afternoon game features the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who last Thursday night opened the 2020 season and began defense of their Super Bowl title by beating down the aforementioned Texans. They traveled to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood to face the Los Angeles Chargers, who I personally think really should have lost that game to the Bengals. That was one loss I was willing to take, because they allowed the Bengals to just hang around. Anyway, this game is Sunday at 4:25 on CBS. The announcers are Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. This game will be airing in Kansas City and Los Angeles, as well as Atlanta, Boston, Buffalo, Chicago, Colorado Springs, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Hartford, Las Vegas, Miami, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, St. Paul, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, Omaha, Orlando, Phoenix, Reno, St. Louis, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Tampa Bay, Tucson, Tulsa, Raleigh-Durham, Spokane, Boise, Eugene, Oregon, Fresno, Bakersfield, Santa Barbara, Albuquerque, Lubbock, Wichita, Topeka, Des Moines, Sioux Falls, Fargo, Bismarck, Billings, Montana, Springfield, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, Madison, Grand Rapids, Flint, Rochester, New York, Syracuse, Albany, Providence, Columbia, South Carolina, Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, Tallahassee, Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi, and Baton Rouge. All right. Kansas City's favored in this game by 8.5. Over-under is 47, giving the Chiefs and the points 35-20, and I have this game finishing over the total. That brings us to Sunday Night Football, in which NBC is hyping up as a Super Bowl 49 rematch. I mean, yeah, it is the Super Bowl. It is the battle of the two teams that played in Super Bowl 49, but this is no rematch. The New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. The Patriots did just enough to beat the Miami Dolphins in the first game in the post-Tom Brady era in New England. They beat the Dolphins 21-11. The Seahawks did allow 3 Falcons to go over 100 yards receiving, but that didn't deter them as they defeated the Atlanta Falcons 38-25. Russell Wilson only threw 4 incompletions the entire day. Speaking of 4, the current point spread is Seattle favored by 4, and the over-under is set at 44.5. All right, so I have Seattle winning this game at home, although the 12th man will not be present at CenturyLink Field on Sunday night. I got the Seahawks winning 28-24 and hitting that 4-point total on the nose. So that's a cover, and I have this game finishing over the 44.5. And then finally, Monday Night Football. Oh, by the way, Sunday Night Football is 8:20 Eastern Time on NBC. The announcers will be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. I want to get that in before I forget. Now we can go into Monday Night Football. As the New Orleans Saints in the Breeze-Brady Battle Part 1 defeated Brady's Bucks 34-23 last Sunday. They're headed to the all-new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, fresh off of their road win in Carolina last week. All right, so this game is Monday night at 8:15 Eastern Time. That's 5:15 in Las Vegas. It will air on ESPN as always, but this is something pretty cool too. ESPN's telecast will also be simulcast on ABC. How cool is that? And get this, and they're doing this to mark the 50th anniversary of the first ever Monday Night Football telecast, which pitted the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns back on September 21st, 1970. So 50 years to the day of the first Monday Night Football broadcast. ESPN and ABC will mark this momentous milestone by simulcasting the Saints and the Raiders on Monday night. And I cannot wait to see what Allegiant Stadium looks like on the inside. I was very, very impressed with SoFi Stadium watching the Rams game Sunday night. I was like, man, they really did spend $5 billion for this. This is nice. I mean, even Cowboys owner Jerry Jones sung the praises of the new stadium. He loves it. I mean, SoFi Stadium costs more than, or nearly 3 times more than AT&T Stadium, because I think AT&T Stadium was like $1.6 billion when it opened back in 2009. I don't know. But anyway, the Saints are favored in this game by 5.5 points. The over-under is 49. New Orleans will not have Michael Thomas in this game. He has an injury, and I think he's going to be out for at the minimum of 3 weeks. He could be out longer. But Michael Thomas or no Michael Thomas, I think the Saints should be able to handle their business against the college-style defense of the Las Vegas Raiders. Give me the Saints in this one, 31-17. I got the Saints covering the 5.5, and the over-under is set at 49, and I got it just finishing 1 point below it. Alrighty then. Last week, in case you missed my week 1 review, I picked every single game against the spread and straight up, and I did very well in both areas. Went 12-4 in my straight up picks and 10-6 against the spread. I don't know how I'm going to do this weekend. I'm just hoping for the best, I guess. But again, it all kicks off tonight with the Bengals and the Browns in the battle of 2 number 1 draft picks. And dare I say, 2 former Heisman Trophy winners in Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow. Should be fun. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll be back next week with my week 2 preview. And we're still doing some radio talk on here. I'm going to go to work on this Chicago ratings video here real soon, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell twice. Be notified every time I post video. That said, Big Al signing off. Enjoy the pigskin, and I will talk to you later. Peace out.